The year 2008, the world economy is collapsing. $10 trillion evaporating. 9 million people losing their homes. Wall Street's biggest banks are failing. Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, Merrill Lynch, all of them disappearing. And in the middle of this chaos, there are four men. Who are they? Not Wall Street CEOs, not economics professors, not government officials, an eye doctor, a hedge fund manager, two young traders, all outsiders, all rejected by Wall Street. But these four men did something that went down in Wall Street history. They predicted the 2008 crisis. While everyone said the economy is strong, they said the system will collapse. And they didn't just predict it. They bet on the collapse. How? They bet against Wall Street. They said the mortgage market will crash, and Wall Street laughed. Impossible, they said. The result? Wall Street lost $5 trillion. These four men made $20 billion. So how did they see it? When everyone was blind, what did they know? The answer is simple. They looked at the truth. Wall Street looked at lies. And Michael Lewis wrote this story, The Big Short. Later became a film, won an Oscar. Christian Bale, Brad Pitt, Ryan Gosling starred. But the real story is crazier than the movie. Now I'm going to tell you what happened in 2008. How did these four men see it? And when the next collapse comes, will you be ready? I'm Michael Lewis. I'm a former Wall Street trader. I worked at Salomon Brothers in the 1,980 seconds. And back then, I saw how Wall Street worked. Bonuses, risks, lies. In 1989, I wrote my first book, Liar's Poker. I told the inside story of Wall Street, how they gambled, how they deceived customers, how they manipulated the system. And nobody believed it. This can't be true, they said. But 2008 came, and everyone saw I was right. Wall Street is a casino. And the 2008 crisis, the biggest gambling loss ever. But this story is much more than Wall Street's loss. This story is the victory of four men. Because these four men figured out Wall Street's game, and they won against Wall Street. Now, let's meet these four men. Man one, Michael Burry, Stanford graduate, completed neurology residency, but quit medicine. Why? Because he loved finance. At night, he read financial reports, analyzed company balance sheets. And he was so good that people started paying attention. Burry started a blog, writing stock analysis for free. And readers started giving him money. Manage our money, they said. The year 2000, Burry founded Scion Capital, a hedge fund. Starting capital, $1 million. Burry's strategy? Value investing. Find cheap stocks, buy, wait, and sell. Simple, but effective. Between 2000 and 2004, Burry delivered 50% annual returns. Incredible. But in 2005, Burry saw something. The mortgage market, home loans, everyone was buying. Banks were giving credit to everyone. People with no income, unemployed people, people with bad credit scores, ninja loans, no income, no job, no assets. Meaning no income, no job, no assets, but getting a mortgage. How? Because banks didn't care. Why? Because banks immediately sold the loan to other banks. Mortgage-backed securities, MBS. They packaged and sold the loans. Burry examined these packages. One by one, he analyzed every loan. And what did he see? Garbage. Unpayable loans. Loans that would default. But what was the rating on these packages? AAA, meaning safe as possible. As safe as government bonds. How is this possible? How can garbage loans get AAA ratings? Because the rating agencies, Moody's, S&P, were lying. Why? Because they served the banks. Banks paid them for ratings. So there was a conflict of interest. Burry saw this and thought, the system will collapse. These loans will fail. The mortgage market will crash. So how do I make money? Burry went to Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, and said, sell me credit default swaps, CDS. What's that? Like insurance. I'll pay you a premium every year, but if the mortgage market collapses, you'll pay me billions. The banks laughed. This guy's crazy, they said. Mortgages never collapse. Home prices always rise. Never fell in history. But Burry insisted, and the banks agreed. Why? Because they thought it was free money. Burry will pay the premium, but mortgages won't collapse. So, infinite free money. Between 2005 and 2007, Burry paid millions in premiums, and nothing happened. The mortgage market was still strong. Home prices were still rising. Burry's investors went crazy. Why are you making such a stupid bet? We're losing money. Some withdrew their money. Burry's lost it, they said, but Burry stayed calm because math doesn't lie. The loans wouldn't be paid. The system would collapse. It was just a matter of time. And he was right. Man two, Steve Eisman, a hedge fund manager. Front Point Partners. Eisman was aggressive, angry. He hated Wall Street. Why? Because his family had been hurt by Wall Street. His father was a broker, honest. But the system didn't reward honest people. The system rewarded liars. Eisman wanted to destroy this system. The year 2006, Eisman went to a conference, subprime mortgage conference in Las Vegas. Mortgage companies were presenting. These companies' CEOs were bragging, telling how many loans they'd given. Eisman asked questions. How are loans approved? What's the loan quality? What's the payment rate? The CEOs couldn't answer clearly because they didn't know. They didn't care. Only the number of loans mattered, not quality. Eisman was shocked. The system is fraud. The loans were designed from the start to not be paid. Teaser rates. First 2 years, low interest. Then it shoots up. People can't pay. Foreclosure. The home is seized. But no problem, because home prices are rising. Home gets seized, sold, profit made. But this only works while home prices rise. If home prices fall, the system collapses. Eisman saw this and did what Michael Burry did. Bought CDS, bet against Wall Street, said the mortgage market will crash, and started waiting. Men 3 and 4, Charlie Ledley and Jamie Mai, 2 young traders, working in a garage office, Cornwall Capital Management, $110,000. Very small. Wall Street doesn't take them seriously, but Charlie and Jamie are smart. Their strategy, tail risk, low probability, high reward bets. Everyone says this won't happen. Impossible. Charlie and Jamie say, but what if it does? Then we make millions. And they're looking for cheap bets. In 2006, they saw the mortgage market and thought, this system is fragile. One shock is enough. It'll collapse. But they don't have Wall Street access because they're too small. For the big short, you need to deal with big banks. What did they do? They found a mentor, Ben Hockett, former Deutsche Bank trader, retired, but has connections. Ben opened doors for them. Goldman, Morgan Stanley, Bear Stearns, Charlie and Jamie bought CDS. Small amounts, but enough. And they waited. Now, let's go to 2007. The mortgage market started cracking. First signs, subprime borrowers can't pay. Foreclosures increasing. Home prices starting to fall. But Wall Street's still in denial. A local problem, they say. Under control, they say. Ben Bernanke, subprime won't spread to the economy. Economists, the system is sound. The best times are coming, but Michael Burry, Steve Eisman, Charlie, Jamie, they know it's started. The collapse has started. End of 2007. 2 Bear Stearns hedge funds failed. They'd invested in mortgages. They lost. They failed. Wall Street didn't panic. Just 2 funds, they said. But the big short players knew this is the beginning. Early 2008, more mortgages failing, more foreclosures, home prices falling. Wall Street is scared, but still hopeful. Maybe it'll recover, they say. March 2008, Bear Stearns collapses, 5-year-old bank, one of Wall Street's giant banks, disappearing in one weekend. JP Morgan buys it for $2 per share. A year ago, it was $170. Wall Street is shocked, but the Fed intervened. Maybe the worst is behind us, they say, but it's not. September 2008, Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt. 8-year-old bank. One of Wall Street's oldest banks failing. The government doesn't rescue it. Lets it fail. Result? Markets collapse. Total panic. AIG, insurance giant, collapsing. Government gives $182 billion bailout. Merrill Lynch sold to Bank of America. Wachovia sold to Wells Fargo. Washington Mutual fails. Biggest bank failure in history. Dow Jones falls 50%. $10 trillion in market value evaporates. 9 million people lose their homes. Unemployment rises to 10%. The world economy in the worst crisis since the Great Depression. And Michael Burry, Steve Eisman, Charlie and Jamie, their CDS skyrocketed, gained value. They made billions, made $4 billion for investors, 489% return. Personally made $100 million. Front Point made $1 billion. Eisman became a Wall Street legend, started with $110,000, reached $80 million, 700 times return, helped them and made millions. Total, these four groups' gains exceeded $20 billion. Wall Street's loss, $5 trillion. But the real question is, how did they see it? When everyone was blind, how did they see? 3 reasons. First, they looked at the truth. They looked inside the packages, didn't trust the ratings, examined the loan quality themselves. Wall Street. Trusted the models, believed the AAA ratings. Nobody looked inside. Second, they were independent from incentives. Michael Burry managed his own hedge fund, didn't report to Wall Street CEOs, could make his own decisions. Wall Street CEOs worked for bonuses. Short-term gains mattered. Long-term risk didn't concern them. Third, they were outsiders, outside the system, hadn't fallen into groupthink. While everyone thought the same, they could think differently. Wall Street, everyone looked alike, went to the same schools, thought the same way. And the result, Wall Street went blind. The big short players saw and changed history. But the story doesn't end here. Because after 2008, there's a question, what changed in the system? Answer, almost nothing. Banks were bailed out. CEOs kept their jobs, continued getting bonuses. Nobody went to jail. Not a single Wall Street CEO was punished. Not a single rating agency was shut down. The system stayed the same. Just a little more regulation came. Dodd-Frank Act. But lobbyists weakened it. And today, 2024, banks are bigger. Debts are higher. The system is more fragile. Will the next crisis come? Definitely. When? We don't know. But we know one thing. Again, very few people will see it. Most people will be shocked again. Again, they'll say too big to fail. Again, the government will bail them out. And you, will you be ready? Or will you be shocked like in 2008? Michael Lewis wrote this story, The Big Short, because people need to know how Wall Street works, how crises happen, and how outsiders win. A film was made. Christian Bale played Michael Burry. Steve Carell played Steve Eisman. Ryan Gosling played Jared Vennett, the film version of Greg Lippman. Brad Pitt played Ben Hockett. The film was nominated for an Oscar, won Best Adapted Screenplay, and millions watched it. But the real story is deeper, because The Big Short isn't just about 2008. The Big Short is about the system itself, about incentives, about risks, about lies, and most importantly, about the courage to see the truth. Michael Burry stood alone while Wall Street laughed. Steve Eisman was pessimistic when everyone was optimistic. Charlie and Jamie played small when everyone played big. And they all won because they saw the truth and they bet on the truth. What will you do? Will you think like everyone else? Or will you think for yourself? Will you trust the models? Or will you look at the data? When the next crisis comes, will you be ready? Or will you be shocked? The choice is yours.